Good morning, everyone. In a previous class, we have started with the history lesson number 4, the Mughal Empire. In this lesson, we have seen that how Mughals had expanded their kingdom from Agra and Delhi. And then we also came to know that Mughals were descendants of two great rulers. Here in the next page, we have seen that how Mughals were the descendants of two great ancestral rulers. That was first from other side, they were from Genghis Khan side, who was a Mongolian, belonged to Mongol tribe, and from the father's side, Mughals belonged to Temur. And another thing we came to know that Mughals did not like themselves to be called from the Genghis Khan descendants. Rather, they prefer to call themselves from Timurid background. Why? The reason also we have studied, because they did not call wanted themselves to be called from Genghis Khan background, because memory of Genghis Khan was associated with massacre, large scale of killing of innocent people, and they wanted themselves to be called. They feel proud in calling themselves uh, from the Timurid background, because according to them, Temur they had a great ancestor who had captured Delhi in 1398. So next year, after this, we have studied about Mughal campaigns, Mughal military campaigns, in which we have seen that Babur was the first Mughal emperor, and then in 1526 he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, that is Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat, and then captured Delhi and Agra. And then the military campaigns continued, and most immediate threat to Mughal was Afghans at that time. Next, we have seen in the table about the Mughal emperors, different Mughal emperors who sat on the throne, and their major campaigns and events. First, Babur sat on the throne, then Humayun, then Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. One by one, they all succeeded their father. Next, we have seen this map. In this map, military campaigns under Akbar and Aurangzeb is given. Mughal traditions of succession also we have studied about, in which we have seen that Mughals uh, believed in the division of inheritance among all the son, and they believed that not only the eldest son should inherit the father's property, but all the sons should have equal share in the father's estate. Coming to the next paragraph, we have seen in a previous class this also, that Mughals relationship with the other rulers, especially we have seen in context with Rajput rulers, where these Rajput married their daughters to the Mughal families and received high position, in which we have seen about the two example, mother of Jahangir and mother of Shahjahan. They both the mothers were from the Rajput background, and they were married to the Mughals. Then we have seen that few rulers were not accepting easily the supremacy of Mughals. Why? Because they don't want to be under the control of the Mughals. But then also the Mughals defeated them in the battle and all, and then finally they were brought under the supremacy of Mughal rule. But we have seen later that Mughal did not humiliated those rulers, and their uh, way to behave with those rulers who were accepting their authority was in on their part very good, and which had great influence on the minds of kings and chieftains. Now today we are going to start with mansabdars and jagirdars. Now, in this, we will see that as the empire expanded to encompass different regions, the Mughal recruited diverse bodies of people. That means that shows that day by day the territories were expanding of the Mughal, which were under the control of Mughals previously. Now they had a large empire. So to take care of that large empire, it was necessary to appoint the new people to take proper care of the administration under their control. Now, from the small nucleus of Turkish nobles, that is, just from the small unit of Turkish people, these Mughal expanded into much bigger, larger unit, and that included Iranians. That means people belong to Iran, Indian, Muslim, Afghans, Rajput, Marathas, and other groups. So now Mughal administration included all these types of people in their administration, in their services, so as to take proper care of the administration. The term Mansabdar refers to an individual. Now, what does the word Mansabdar means? Mansabdar means the individual who holds mansab, meaning the position or rank. That means the Mughal, those who joined the services of Mughal, those people who had been appointed as to impart the services towards Mughal Empire, they were given the role of Mansabdars. They were treated as Mansabdars, and who were Mansabdars? Mansabdars was the position or rank which was given to those people who were under Mughal services, and it was grading system. This mansabdar was a grading system. Now the mansabdar was given the mansab. What does the word mansab means? Mansab means a position or rank in the Mughal administration. And this was the grading, this Mansab was a grading system which was used by the Mughals. Now, how it was used? It was used to give the rank to the particular Mansabdar, to give them salaries, to give them military responsibilities. So, these were the things uh, imparted to the Mansabdars through mansabs. Now, rank and salary were determined by the numerical value called zat. Now, what was zat? Zat was the numerical value which was given by the Mughals to their uh, individuals who used to perform the duties for the Mughal. The higher the zat, the more prestigious was the noble position and in the court, and the larger his salary. That means if the zat was very high, then that shows that Mughals were having the high position in the administration as well. They were also having the high uh, salary plus high position, respectful position in the Mughal army, Mughal administration. So, this I think it is clear till here. Now, Mansabdars received their salaries as revenue assignments. Now, these Mansabdars, first we will see what all was the responsibility of Mansabdars. What all was the responsibility of. Now, the Mansabdars were given the military responsibilities also. Now, they required to maintain. What was the responsibility of Mansabdars? They had to maintain the specific number of savar. Specific number of means proper number of soldiers should be present in the military of the Mughal Empire, with or the cavalryman. Cavalryman means the people, the individuals who were on the horseback. So these the Mansabdars also performed the military responsibilities to take special care about these cavalrymen or sawar, we can say in Hindi. The Mansabdars brought his cavalrymen for review, got them registered, their horses branded, and then received money to pay them as salary. Now, the duty of Mansabdars was to register these cavalrymen. That shows that each and every person who was a soldier in the Mughal army, they all were registered by the Mansabdars. Even their horses were branded. The brand was put, the seal was put on their horses, and then the Mansabdars used to receive money to pay them as salary. Clear this much? What was the responsibility of the Mansabdar? Now, Mansabdars received their salaries as revenue assignments called Jagirs. Now, in what way these Mansabdars received their salary? They received their salary as a Jagir. That means somewhat like Iktas. Iktas was the piece of land, Jagir. So, but unlike Muktis, most Mansabdars did not actually reside or administer their Jagirs. Like Muktis, they also did not live in that Jagir, live on that land, like we have seen in the case of Muktis in the previous lesson. They only had the right to a revenue of their assignment, which was collected for them by their servants. Now, the only duty was that whatever Jagirs were given by the Mughal rulers to these Mansabdars used to collect only the revenue from those jagirs, those lands from their servants. They used to give those jagirs to their servants to take care of them and to collect the revenue. Was the only duty of these mansabdars from that jagir. Clear this much? Now the sidebox it is written Jat ranking. How was the Jat ranking? Nobles with the Jat of 5,000 were ranked higher than those of 1,000. That means the rank, the position of the nobles who were having the Zat of 5,000, they were little higher grade position than the individual who was having 1,000 of Zat. Then in Akbar's reign, there was 29 Mansabdars with the rank of 5,000 Zat. That means during the reign of Akbar, during the rule of Akbar, there was 29 Mansabdars. 29 Mansabdars were there who used to have 5,000 jats. Clear? Then next, Leher Sankla. Now next, by Aurangzeb's reign, the number of Mansabdars had increased to 79. Now, would this have meant more expenditure for the state? That means this shows that the more the individual was having the Zat, the higher position he was having in the Mughal administration. Next, we come to next page. Like in Akbar's reign, during the Akbar's ruling period, these Jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenue were roughly equal to the salary of the Mansabdars. Now, these Jagirs which were given to the Mansabdars, they were very carefully evaluated, assessed. Assisted means they were very carefully checked or evaluated so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of the mansabdar. That shows that whatever jagis those mansabdars were having, that much revenue they can collect from that jagir, and it was equal to be their salary of mansabdar. That means whatever revenue was taken, whatever tax was taken on that particular land, that much was the salary of that mansabdar. Now, by Aurangzeb's reign, This was no longer the case, and actual revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. Now, by Aurangzeb, till the Aurangzebs came to rule, this was no longer a case, and the actual revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. That means, actually, whatever the revenue was being collected, it was very less than the salary asked from this Mansabdars, asked for the Mansabdars. There was also a huge increase in the number of Mansabdars, which meant a long wait before they received a Jagir. That means there was many number of people who were appointed as Mansabdars, and that is why they had to wait to get a Jagir. These and other factors created a shortage in the number of jagirs, and as the number of mansabdars were increasing, so the number of jagirs, the number of appointment land providing land was decreasing day by day. Next, as a result, many jagirdars tried to extract as much revenue as possible while they had a jagir. Now, Aurangzeb was unable to control these developments in the last years of his reign, and peasantry therefore suffered tremendously. That means the farming, the agricultural activity suffered very badly during Aurangzeb, because during the last days of Aurangzeb, he was not able to have control over the developments of these jagirs. Now, in the picture, this we can see that figure 5, the Mansabdar on march with his Savars. Mansabdar is there with his all the Savars. Then, figure 6, details from the miniature from Shahjahan's reign. That means when Shahjahan was ruling, it is given here details which shows, depict means which shows the corruption in the father's administration. Corruption is shown over here, that first the corrupt officer is receiving a bribe, and second the tax collector punishing poor peasants. So these are the two things which shows that now the corruption was being there in the during the reign of Shahjahan. Now Zabt and Zamindar, the main source of income available to Mughal rulers was tax on the produce of peasantry. The main source of income for the Mughal rulers. Now, how Mughal rulers were getting the income, how they were increasing their economy through the taxes, which was put on the produce of the peasantry. That means the tax was taken on whatever produce was there, whatever production was there of the farmers. In most places, peasants paid taxes through the rural elites, that is, the headman or the local chieftain. Now, these peasants, these farmers used to pay the taxes to the Mughal, not directly, but through the rural elite. Rural elites means village rich class people, and they were the village headmen, or we can say local chieftain. This was the grade given, that village headman or local chieftain can collect the taxes from the peasants according to their produce, whatever they have produced on their field, and they had to give it to the Mughal rulers as a tax. Then the Mughals used to term zamindars to describe all intermediaries. Now, Mughal used to give the term, the word zamindars was used, who was the intermediator, whether they were local headmen or village or powerful chieftain. For all of them, the one single term was used as zamindars, who used to take care to give the tax to the Mughals from the farmers. They used to collect the taxes from the farmers and used to hand over to the Mughal rulers. Clear this much? Now, next, Akbar's revenue minister. Now, who was Akbar's revenue minister? Todarmal carried out a careful survey of crop yields. That means careful survey was done of whatever crops was produced. Crop yield matlab whatever crops were produced. The careful survey was done by Todarmal. Who was Todarmal? Todarmal was the revenue minister. And then the prices and areas cultivated for the 10-year period 1570 to 1580, and whatever the prices was fixed according to that crop yield, crop production. On the basis of this data, tax was fixed on each crop in the cash. So whatever produce was there, whatever production was made on that particular field, on each field, the production, the tax was fixed for the crops. That much amount they had to pay to the Mughal administration. Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates of individual crops. This revenue system was known as Zabt. Now, what was Zabt? Zabt was a revenue system in which each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates. Means they were having own revenue rates. How much production was there, that much production, the tax was taken on each crop, and the individual each individual crop, and then it had to be paid by the zamindars to the Mughal rulers. Now, next, it was prevalent in those areas where Mughal administration could survey the land and keep very careful account. This was not possible in the provinces such as Gujarat and Bengal. Now, this was not possible in Gujarat and Bengal to keep a careful survey, to keep all the maintenance of the accounts properly. Then next last paragraph today for today. In some areas, the zamindars exercise a great deal of power. The exploitation of Mughal administration could drive them to rebellion, and many much exploitation of zamindars by zamindars was done on the farmers, and that is why the Mughal administration could drive them to rebellion. The exploitation by the Mughal administrators could drive them to rebellion, could drive them to rebellion. That means they could rose against the Mughal administration, against the zamindars who were exploiting the people. Sometimes zamindars and the peasants of the same caste allied in rebellion against Mughal authority. Now, sometimes the zamindars as well as the peasants together allied means together joined against the Mughal administration for their exploitation, because they were exploiting the people. Now, Mughal administrators, those who were indulged in the services under Mughal administration, they used to exploit zamindars as well as peasants, farmers, and that is why both of them, zamindars as well as peasants, rose against opposition against the Mughal administrators. Then these peasants' revolt challenged the stability of Mughal Empire from the end of the 17th century. Now, from the end of the 17th century, now it was a great challenge of peasants for the Mughal stronghold in the Indian subcontinent. So I come to an end here only. In our next class, whenever we meet, whether in live class or in video uploading, where whatever it will be there, we will start from Akbarnama and Aine Akbari. So till here, wherever we have read, you please read so that you can understand it properly. So today till here only. In our next class, we are going to meet again with the continuation of the lesson. Thank you.